I strongly believe a lot of persons who are saying today that they want to break off from Nigeria, a lot of them, if given the real opportunity to really say their mind, they don't really want to separate from the country, but they want a country that is not just for one particular side or a tribe. They want a country that is in.
Hello and what's up, guys? In this video, something shocking has just been said and it's already stirring heavy reactions across Nigeria. An activist has boldly declared that the conspiracy against the Igbos is true and that the continuous detention of Nnamdi Kanu has nothing to do with justice but everything to do with politics and fear. Now listen carefully, because what he revealed next will leave you speechless. He said the terrorism charges against Nnamdi Kanu are nothing but witch hunting charges. According to him, there is no single piece of evidence linking Kanu to any violent act or incident in the southeast, not one. He explained that in Nigerian law, if you claim someone committed a crime, you must show the real evidence, the weapon, the scene, the proof. But in this case, none of that exists. He went further to ask a disturbing question: why is the government holding a man without proof when all he asked for was fair treatment and justice for his people? Then he reminded everyone of history. Before Nnamdi Kanu, there was Ojukwu, who fought for the rights of the Igbos during the Biafran War, and decades later, the same pattern continues: killings, marginalization, and oppression. According to him, this has gone on for too long, and instead of dialogue, what the government keeps doing is silence and suppression. He made a powerful comparison. A woman who says she wants to leave her husband doesn't always want a divorce. Sometimes she just wants to be heard. That's how many in the southeast feel today. They want inclusion, fairness, and equal opportunity, not necessarily separation. But the activist didn't stop there. He turned his focus straight to Nigeria's leaders, saying any president with common sense should have called for dialogue long ago, not more arrest and intimidation. Then he dropped another bombshell, saying that even the Nigerian judiciary has failed the people. He accused the courts of keeping quiet while the rule of law collapses, warning that the country is slowly being ruled by men, not laws. And in a dramatic turn, he also called out what happened in Rivers State, claiming the president's action against Governor Simfubara were treasonable. He said if the governor had military backing, the so-called sole administrator would never have lasted a single day. His words were heavy, accusing the presidency of abusing power and turning democracy into what he called nonsense democracy. He said, and I quote, "If we keep quiet and allow one man to control everything, we are giving him absolute power, and absolute power destroys democracy." This statement has now sparked outrage online, with many Nigerians saying it is time the judiciary and the people stand up before it is too late. Guys, this is serious. The activist didn't just talk, he exposed, challenged, and warned that what is happening to Nnamdi Kanu today could happen to anyone tomorrow. Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look, guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
About the terrorism charges against Nnamdi Kanu is that they are also a witch hunting charge. Why I said so is because when you look at the ingredients of the offense of terrorism, you must be able to establish a direct connection between the alleged offense and the alleged offender. Currently, there is not even a single piece of material evidence connecting whatsoever that is happening in the southeastern Nigeria with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as we speak. And even before now, that they are alleging that he made some communications that may have indirectly or directly influenced some activities in the southeast, are all unproved. They are all tainted with a lot of speculations. Now, let me give you an example of how the law works. If you are alleging that Mr. A killed Mr. B, you have to present how Mr. A killed Mr. B. You have to bring up the real evidence used by Mr. A to kill Mr. B. Either it's a gun, either it's a knife, whatsoever it is, you have to bring it. You cannot just speak and say it has happened and then we should all agree that it has happened. No. I am being factual in law now. This is our practice and procedure. This is also part of the evidence law of Nigeria. if you are saying that Mr. B had indeed died, it's either you bring the corpse of Mr. B or you bring a certification to show that Mr. B had been died. Now, let's go to your offense of terrorism, which Nnamdi Kanu is starting for. Before Mazi Nnamdi Kanu started agitating for the freedom and the equal rights and treatment of the Igbos, in 1966, Ojukwu commenced that struggle, which 1967 to 1970, we saw a dark period in Nigeria, which nobody is happy about or is happy to remember of. However, just some years down the line, the Igbos were being killed, the Igbos were being marginalized, the Igbos were being oppressed in the country. Not just the Igbos alone, even the Yorubas and the Hausas in some other parts of the states in Nigeria were also being killed, were also being marginalized. However, the one that was looking more outspoken, more clear, was the one that has to do with what? The Igbos. Now, the Igbos came out and started agitating. As a reasonable head of state or as a reasonable head of the executive arm of government, what were you supposed to do if you had common sense as the president then? You would have just called these people to a roundtable meeting and dialogue with them and understand the pain in their hearts. The truth is this: a woman who is saying, I want to divorce my husband, I want to divorce my husband, please sue my husband, I want you to file a petition for dissolution of marriage, might not really want a dissolving marriage. It is just a gimmick to bring the husband to dialogue with her, so as to get maybe better treatment or better welfare. I strongly believe a lot of persons who are saying today that they want to break off from Nigeria, a lot of them, if given the real opportunity to really say their mind, they don't really want to separate from the country, but they want a country that is not just for one particular side or a tribe. They want a country that is inclusive. They want a constitution that properly defines the rights and obligations of collective Nigeria and not just a particular sector. They want a particular constitution that would not be in any way discriminating against them. The Igbos have time again said it, that they are being discriminated against in the country. And as the president, the only thing you could do was to try to muzzle them. Of course, that doesn't work. If you call for a referendum, you have to first of all amend section 1 subsection 2 of the 1999 constitution, because you cannot call for a referendum without amending the provisions of that section, which says that Nigeria shall be one indivisible state. So by the time you now amend it, you give the people the free will to vote. Don't be surprised. Just like Brexit, we had a close call. Some person said they wanted to leave, some people said they wanted to go. However, the people that wanted to actually stay, the Britanians that wanted to stay with the EU, was close to 49%, very close. Now, if we are to have this kind of democratic system in Nigeria, where people are called to come and speak up their mind in the eastern part of the country, don't be surprised that the elites and even those that they would also influence will vote to stay. That will solve the problem of what? Of separation. Then you now address other key issues. What happened to Governor Sim Fubara is an example of what we call absolute power vested in the federal government. The governor of the state was never removed. That's one they said for 6 months that he was not the governor or he was not the one operating River State. Is because he did not have the muscle to go and take back his office. There is no provision in law. In fact, it is even going to be an aberration if you people, journalists, should make a declaration that he was removed for 6 months. He was never removed. The proclamation of Mr. President is tantamount to an offense. That declaration that was also legitimized by the National Assembly was legitimizing an offense. Are you aware that it is a treasonable offense to declare the seats of the president, vice president, governor or deputy governor vacant without following the due process of law, either by virtue of section 143 or section 188 as it relates to removal of either the president or the governor? The president, if not because of the fact that he has immunity under section 308 of the 1999 constitution, he would ordinarily have been subjected to treason charges, because what he did in River State is a treasonable offense. And that is the reason why I said that if Governor Sim Fubara had his own military might in Rivers State, the sole administrator wouldn't even see the light of the day there. It is going to be a war. The governor will sit down in his power. If you want to declare state of emergency in accordance with section 305, you have the right to actually declare a state of emergency. You have the right to bring in military support to support me. Not to say they are taking over my seats. They are coming to support me because I am overwhelmed. That is what the constitution presumes. The constitution presumes that the governor has become overwhelmed. The current state security personnel he has are not sufficient for him to contain insurgency or emergency, either by natural disaster or by human intervention. Then the president steps in to what? To reinforce the security he has, not to come and sit on his throne. A democratically elected leader cannot be charged for any offense in Nigeria. Governor Sim Fubara, if he had had a face-off with the sole administrator will be charged to court in the same country, not this one we are operating nonsense democracy, in the same country that has real democracy. That sole administrator, if he had had a face-off with the governor, will be charged for treason, for even trying to lay a finger on the governor. But the governor was gagged. The governor was muzzled under the table, and even came back and was applauding Mr. President. Automatically, he has even legitimized the aberration that was done on him by even thanking Mr. Who are you thanking? That is why I don't blame women for saying that it's like women have more balls in Nigeria today, because look at Senator Natasha. She never apologized for anything. She never thanked anybody. After the period of the suspension, which of course I feel that our own case is quite different, because under the Senate rules, they can discipline her. Okay?
Not that long.
Yes. So, but the one that is even, in fact, if the justices of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, the late justices, those ones that we know that they were the one that helped us today to have certain things that we're enjoying, if not because of the ruggedity of our past Supreme Court judges, that were very rugged, they took no nonsense. When President Olusegun Obasanjo declared the office of the Vice President vacant in the case of Attorney General of Federation versus Atiku 2007, the Supreme Court held without any form of fear that you cannot, whether directly or indirectly, declare the office of the Vice President vacant. You don't have that power. That is the same thing that just happened this year in this country, and everybody kept quiet. Even the judiciary, who I am a member of as a part of the bar, I felt so bad that this matter could not be expeditiously had and determined, at least to save the sanity of our democracy and constitution. This matter was just left hanging and have finally been turned to academic and swept under the carpet. Now tell me how posterity wants to judge each and every one of us, especially within my own profession. Honestly speaking, I feel so bad that things that should be taken very seriously, because when you keep allowing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to go away with a lot of things, you are giving him what we call absolute power. The judicial arm of government, who by virtue of section 6 ought to ensure that the constitution is being upheld to the highest level, is now keeping quiet because of procedural defect and what have you, which of course we all know that a former Chief Justice of Nigeria has stated that we have left the time of technicalities and now we are now in the time of substantive justice. Even the great Oputa has stated in the case of Adekoke Motos against Adesanya and others that we are final, not because we are infallible, rather we are infallible because we are final. The justices of the Supreme Court of Nigeria are human beings capable of erring. It will be short-sighted arrogance not to accept this obvious truth. That is the words of Justice Oputa of blessed memory. Honestly speaking, I am using this as a conscious and professional call that I believe we, the judicial arm of government, have a whole lot of role to play in ensuring that our democracy in Nigeria is not one that is run by one man. Honestly speaking, the rule of law is preferably than the rule of man, because as we are in Nigeria, it is as if we are experiencing the rule of man and not the rule of law.
All right, good morning, Nigeria. We thank God for what God is actually doing. I called this protest on 1st October. The 1st October was cancelled, and I knew the confrontation and the intimidation I got from TSS that very morning at Igbo Square. But we thank God for the life of Showore that has called for this protest. And I'm disappointed with most of the things that's happening in the social media space. Well, the narrative is going on that Showore is actually going to lead Igbo out for them to be killed. And that Showore is doing it for political reason. I think it's high time we need to become reasonable as Nigerians. Yes, Nnamdi Kanu is in detention, yes. Nnamdi Kanu is battling with health challenges in DSS detention, yes. Nigeria is a banana republic, oh yes, it's a banana republic. When Nnamdi Kanu is held with medical challenges, just for talking on radio, and bandits are moving freely, getting peace deal, and Boko Haram are being fed with rice and chicken in the same country and with the same constitution. And yet, I see the brainwash, they are trying to brainwash the Igbos. That is a political gathering. Even if it is a political gathering, I am an activist. I am not a politician. I am not aspiring for any presidential ambition. And yet, I have been calling for this protest. Look, if Showore as a politician and Achiko as a politician is actually talking for justice, fairness, equity, for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, are they not right? Even if they are politicians, Nigerians, what is wrong with us as a people? Well, I'm talking to the Igbos now. If you think we are fighting for the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu because of fairness and equity, but let the Igbos know that other people will not continue to fight for their freedom for a long time. If they need their freedom in a banana republic called Nigeria, they need to stand up for themselves. And if the Igbos cannot stand up for themselves, what is happening in Lagos is just the beginning of their problem. Because I am assuring you, what is happening in Lagos for Igbos can never happen to Hausa people if it was a Hausa community in Lagos. And they should know this. And let them know that freedom is not served a la carte. Freedom is not served on the dining table. And for the coming Showore protest, I am prepared. You can see we are fully prepared. These are t-shirts. These are almost about 60 t-shirts, and we still need more. And we are mobilizing people to join Showore for this movement. We are making arrangements for transportation at Zuba axis and Maraba Nyanya axis. We don't need money. You can just actually give us an 18-seater. A bus, whatever vehicle you can give us, it can be stationed at Zuba or Maraba Nyanya to convey people. And we need t-shirts. We need t-shirts. This is just 60 t-shirts. We need more t-shirts. We don't need money. We need t-shirts. And we need transportation arrangement. Please. This is about Nnamdi Kanu. This is about fairness. This is about equity. Those that are selling the wrong narrative on the social media, continue to sell your own narrative. One day it will be you. And people will say wrong narrative against you. So I am calling up all Nigerians of good conscience and good heart. This is not political gathering. I am not a politician. And I'm calling sincere Nigerians to join us in this cause. To make sure that this Showore protest on 28th will be a success. We are coming from Kaduna. We are mobilizing people and we are calling the Igbos within the Abuja metropolis. You don't need transport money to go to the rally point or to the protest point. And for those that doesn't have transport money, you can reach out to us. If you are staying in around Maraba Nyanya and around Zuba, we'll make arrangement for buses. And we still need more t-shirts. We need more t-shirts. And I pray that this rally is going to be a success for the release of our hero, Nnamdi Kanu. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.